everybody. Thank you. We're about to begin. All right. How is everybody today? It's beautiful outside, isn't it? It's very nice. Well, it's nice to see you all here today, and thank you so much for coming. My name is Lynn Drinkwater, and I'm the Moore County Senior Enrichment Center's Program Coordinator. And this is one of my favorite events, but it's also one of the most daunting. There's a lot of pieces to it, as you can tell. So, welcome to the Game of Life's Journey. So back in the day when I was working at home care, and I also attended a horse farm tour. They often have them over in Southern Pines in the fall. I thought there has to be something like that for assisted livings and independent livings and rehabs. And so that was one of my very first tasks when I took the job here in 2013, was to create this Game of Life's Journey. It's evolved over the years. It used to be in 3 parts. That was a lot of wrangling. So I've kind of narrowed it down to 2. And so I really thank you all for coming. And so what I'm going to be doing today is talking to you a little bit about what the Senior Enrichment Center and the Department of Aging is and does. And before I start, I'd always love to ask, how many people, is this your first time here at the Senior Center? All right. Well, thank you and welcome. I hope you enjoy yourselves. We have a lot of fun here. And as you can see, sometimes when you drive by, that parking lot is always full, and it's amazing. The average age of a person that comes to the Senior Center is 72 years old, and they're fit, and they come here to work out. But then we have from 50 up to 102, and they're all sizes and shapes and colors of the rainbow, I always say. And hey, before I get started, though, I want to let you know, for those people who are first time here, if you need to use the restroom, out the doors you came in and to the left is the restroom, okay? Just want to let you know. I want to say a quick thank you, too, for all of the sponsors today for the lovely lunch that we have given from the Fresh Market here. But it's because of all the tables that are here. They give me a table fee, and then we're able to provide the lunch. And the door prizes they're going to have as well at the end of today. And usually I take part of the donations and use that as the cash prize. For those of you that are participating in part 1 and part 2 and will be going on the tours, there's a grand prize of $200 and a first prize of $200, and the second prize is $100. And they're actually given by, the first place is from Pinehurst Wealth, and this time around the Greens at Pinehurst gave us the second place prize of $100. So thank you very much. So I'm going to explain how the Game of Life's Journey works, and then I'm going to go into what we do here. So the Game of Life's Journey, for all of you that signed up to attend all of it, part 1, part 2, and tours, we will give you a map at the end of today, and we will give you a passport. And then what you do is you have to go visit at least 2 places on the maps. If you go to every additional tour, even if you go to just one more, you get an additional entry into winning the prizes. So what you do is you look on the map, and it'll tell you all the places. It'll give you the dates that they're having the tours and the times, so that they know when to expect you. There's phone numbers on there if you'd like to RSVP ahead of time. You show up, you go on those tours. They either give you a stamp in your passport, or they'll staple their business card in there. That will be proof that you went to that place. Then when you come back on April 1st, as you're entering the room, we're going to put all those little passports in the little suitcase, and then that is where we draw the winners from at the end of part 2. Okay, so that's how the game works. So let's go back to the beginning of the Senior Enrichment Center. So a lot of people don't know that we are 2 things. So all of us staff that work, we work for the county. We work for Moore County Department of Aging. But our offices happen to be at the Senior Enrichment Center. So a lot of times people think we're just the senior center, but we're two things in one. So through the Department of Aging, we get grants from the federal government from the Older Americans Act that was placed back in the 60s. And with that are services that we can provide to seniors in Moore County who are over the age of 60. These services don't cost anything. The only thing we do is when we sign people up for the programs, we do ask what your monthly income is, because we have requirements to ask that, to say, well, with your income, you might want to donate back maybe $20 at the end of the month. You might want to donate $5 at the end of the month, depending on the person's income level. But if they don't have the money, that's okay. It's just the money that we get back in, we can put back into that bucket of money, so then we can help more people through that program. So I'm going to go down the list of all of the services that we provide. The first one I always think is the most important is our family caregiver advisor. Alvita, wave your pretty little hand. There she is over there helping. Alvita Person is our family caregiver advisor, and she helps everybody. She's wonderful. She does information and assistance. She does information and referral. So if you have a situation, whether it's you're helping somebody that's your loved one here in the community, whether it's somebody that you know, a sister that lives in Florida, or you have a grandmother that lives in California, whatever it is, and you have questions, she can find out the answers for you. Most likely, every senior enrichment center or Department of Aging, or sometimes they're called the Area Agency Council, every community is different. But we have 100 counties in North Carolina. So there's somebody like us in every county. And if there's not somebody like us, we can find somebody that's like us. And so she helps people, like I said, information and assistance, information and referrals, but she is the family caregiver advisor. So if you're living with somebody or family that has a cognitive issue or any kind of a problem medically, she can sit and listen to you as to what the situation is, and then she can offer advice and give you information. She has a resource guide that's over 44 beyond, probably 80 pages now, on our website. We never really print that out because it's a living and breathing document, because we always have new businesses coming to town, or we have other businesses that merge, or businesses go out of business. So that document is always updated. But you can always find it on the Moore County website. If you go to Moore County, North Carolina, and go under aging for the departments, you'll find all kinds of information there. Everything that I'm talking to you about today. And as a matter of fact, in front of you, you'll see the fact sheet. And the fact sheet is going to tell you a little paragraph of what I'm going to be telling you about, of all the services. So if you're a caregiver and you are providing care for somebody that has a cognitive issue, we have something called respite care. Respite care are hours that are given to a person who is taking care of someone, and it's a finite number, and it's in 4-hour increments. So say it's 30 hours and you get 4-hour increments, and we tell you what the home care company is. We partner with licensed and bonded home care agencies. And what we do is we give you the hours, we pay out of our grant to the agency, and when you need the hours, you call the agency and they provide you with a caregiver to come in your home so that you can leave to go to a doctor's appointment or lunch with your girlfriends or whatever you need to do, grocery shopping, and then you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I can't leave my loved one alone for a little bit. So that's the respite care. With the respite care, there is something else that she provides, which is depends. So if you're part of the family caregiver program, she can help you with that and all sorts of other things. But she has a family caregiver support group meeting once a month, and she tries to give great information, have great speakers there for you. And we also have, if you are prescribed liquid nutrition like Boost or Ensure, she can order that cheaper through the grants that we get by the case than if you went to Walmart or Costco or something like that. And we have regular, we have the protein boost, and we have the Glucerna for the diabetics, and we have vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, and all of those three types. She places the order once a week, and then you pick up the order another day on the same week. And so that's another program that she helps with. Now we have 2 nutrition programs. Everybody's heard of Meals on Wheels, but everyone usually is surprised to learn that Meals on Wheels only covers half of Moore County. They only cover from Pinehurst and Southern Pines south. We have a program called Home Delivered Meals, and we cover from Whispering Pines and Taylortown north. We right now have 9 meal routes. Those routes are solely, the meals are solely given to people through volunteerism. Somebody will get a meal route and they'll go to either the fire department or the town hall or a church or even our building downstairs here. And they'll pick up the meals, put them in a bag. They'll get the list of who they're delivering to that day. And sometimes it's the only eyes laid on some of these people who are homebound. So it's very gratifying for the volunteers, and we really thank them so much for doing this. We partner with those meals. We partner with Mid-South Catering down there in Aberdeen, the Coca-Cola company, and they provide the meals. So what they do is they make the meals. It's kind of like a hot lunch, I tell people, like in high school. So they give a meal that's usually like a juice. They give fruit, and we have these nice warming, they look like big or mini refrigerators, but they're warming bins, and they deliver them to the 9 meal sites in those bins. So if you're on the meal route and we can get your meal from that meal site to your house, and it's the same temperature that we're required to have, then you can be on that meal route. But sometimes we'll get somebody who still lives in Moore County, but they're way in a place that's so far away that by the time we dropped a meal off, it wouldn't be the right temperature. So in those cases, what we do is we recommend that they maybe join our Diners Club, because we also have a congregate meal. So we have 2 congregate meal sites in Moore County, one right here in our senior center, and one in Robbins on 705 highway, going like out of Robbins and towards Star or Seagrove. And the same meals from Mid-South Catering are prepared, and they're brought here, but instead of them individually portioned out, they're actually brought in big bins, and we have big warming trays and like a little oven that we have here and also in Robbins. And so, like I say to everybody, it's kind of like a high school meal, so sometimes it's delicious. I know their vegetable lasagna is always a popular one. And then sometimes it's like mystery meat. But you know what? It's there for people to get socialization and have, break bread with somebody, and it's nice. What we do here is on Mondays for the Diners Club, they have Bible study. And Tuesdays, it's either chair exercise or brain exercise. Wednesdays and Thursdays, if the Diners Club members bring $1.25, they can play bingo until everybody wins a prize, and we say $1.25, it's because the Dollar Tree went up to $1.25. So, and Karen is here right now. Karen McNeil, go ahead and wave your pretty little hand. That's Karen. She is over our Diners Club program here at the Senior Center. The other lady, Kathy Lewis, is the one in Robbins, and she is a hoot. She does it all by herself out there. It's amazing. She comes up with all kinds of fun activities for people. So if anybody wanted to become a Diners Club member, they would come and meet with or call Karen and contact them. You could try one on for size to see if it fits you, but it's something where you have to be ready to be part and participate in the Diners Club program. You're not just showing up, eating the meal, and then, I'm going to go downstairs and hang out with my friends and go do Tai Chi or something. It's something where you're going to be with the crowd. 10 o'clock is usually when they do their program. Sometimes they're let off by a bus around 8:30 or 9 in the morning, and they go get themselves a cup of coffee. Maybe they watch TV. Maybe they walk the track downstairs, go into the fitness room, or just hang out in the lobby. So that is by 11:30. I would say they're all on their buses and out the door. So you do eat early with this program. But it's a nice way to socialize for people who they live alone or something, you know. And if you have a caregiver, you can come with your person that you're caring for. You can't just drop them off. We're not an adult daycare, but you can be there with them. We've had people in the past just to get more socialization with people. For brain health, socialization is the key. So that is our nutrition programs that we have 2 of, and then we have transportation. Transportation, you know those MCTS little mini buses you see driving all over town? That stands for Moore County Transportation Services. And so there's all kinds of levels of transportation in the area. One is if you're on Medicaid, you have your own transportation. What we provide is medical transportation. Medical transportation is you call, say you're signed up to the program and you've got a doctor's appointment next week. You call the front desk. You say, I have an appointment next Thursday at 2 o'clock. This is my name. This is the address of the doctor's appointment I need to go to. And this is, I already told you the time. They'll confirm your phone number and ask if you need a wheelchair lift, because every bus pretty much has the wheelchair lift in case you've got a cane or a walker and it's hard for you to get up the stairs. Now, you do have to be able to be ready for the bus. Sometimes the bus is 2 hours early. It depends on how many people these buses have to get around, and they never know that until maybe the day before. So you just have to be ready, and you have to be able to get from your house to the bus. We don't stop the bus and then go and get you type thing. You have to be ready and then come on. They will drop you off at the doctor's office, make about an hour later, come around, get you, and bring you home. If you're not ready yet, they still go out and do some things, come back, pick you up, and bring you home. They can take you anywhere in Moore County, Lee County, out in Fayetteville, up to Chapel Hill, UNC. It's wonderful service. So that is the medical transportation. So if you are a medical transportation rider, say you have dialysis, what you do is you say, I have dialysis, and it's either 2 days a week or 3 days a week. Once we have that schedule, you never have to call. That's your schedule. We know that's your schedule no matter what. Even during inclement weather days when we cancel everything else, we make sure those dialysis patients go to dialysis. The other thing that we do here is we help with Medicare. One of the flyers in front of you, can I take yours for a second? This is one of my favorite flyers because it talks about medicine and how expensive they are. And there's a lot of people in this community that say they don't have a lot of money, and they go to DSS and they find out they don't qualify for Medicaid. But if you don't qualify for Medicaid, you still might qualify for extra help. There are 2 Medicare savings programs. The 2 programs are, one is, you know how if you're on Medicare in this room, you know how once a month Social Security loves to take that $185 from you to pay for Medicare Part B? Well, if you don't qualify for Medicaid, but you still are low income, you might qualify not to have that $185 taken out, which is wonderful. And that's another $185 that a person can pay for their light bill. But a lot of people don't know about that program. So I'm hoping every one of you remember this and take it back to anybody that you know of in your neighborhood, your family, your friends, your church. The other program is a free drug plan. So if you are still lower income, maybe you're more money than you qualify for that extra help that helps you with that $185, but you still might qualify for the Medicare savings program for the free drug plan. And what that means is you can get a drug plan that you don't have to pay for each month. So you don't have to pay for the insurance. And when you get that free drug plan, that automatically reduces the price of money that you pay for all of your drugs. So you won't pay any more than I believe the going rate is like $5 now or $6 for a generic, and I think it's 10 or 11 for a brand name drug. That is huge savings for people. So that is one of my favorite things. We certainly, Katie, if you want to raise your pretty little hand. Katie Hall is our SHIP coordinator, and SHIP stands for Seniors Health Insurance Information Program. So it's SHIP with 2 I's, like aye, Captain. So Katie gives a Medicare 101 class every month from January through September. We leave October, November, and December alone because that's when I take my programming hat off and put on my Medicare hat and join tag team with Katie and some other volunteers. And that's when we help through the Medicare open enrollment time. That's when you see Joe Namath on television 24 hours a day, trying to sell you Advantage plans and everything else. So we help with that all year long. There are people that turn 65 all year long. There are people that move here. If you move anywhere, you have a certain amount of time in that new area it's called a special enrollment period, where you can then enroll in a new Medicare plan, whether it's an Advantage plan or a supplement and a drug plan, because your healthcare doesn't really move with you in some cases. So you have that window of opportunity, just so that you know. So we're busy all year long, or Katie's busy all year long for that. But back when I was doing Medicare, this Medicare savings programs was one of my favorite things to talk about and help people with. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is our in-home aid program. And so we have Jennifer Thomas with us. Wave your pretty little hand, Jennifer. Thank you so much. In-home aid is the most popular program, but it's also the program that has the biggest wait list. So we have a registered nurse on the premises, and we have Jennifer, who is a CNA, but she is the supervisor of this program. And then we have, is it 6 or 7? 7 in-home aid CNAs. So we have certified nursing assistants that will go to your home, and they will help. That's about 2 to 2.5 hours a week. And they will help with light housekeeping. They can go to the laundromat for you or do the laundry if you have it at your house. They can go on errands for you, but they can't take you anywhere. We do have an extra level. So if you need an extra level of care, say you are bedbound or your loved one is bedbound, they can bring a caregiver in twice a week to give a bed bath. They can take blood pressure. It's a program that really helps the frail stay in their home for as long as they can. And that's what's wonderful about that program. Sometimes we have people on there. What's the longest we've ever had somebody on? Up to a year? It's amazing. And they become like family members, which is really sweet. So that's all of our programs that we have. And then what I do is I'm the program coordinator. So I come up with fun programs. I love educational programs, any kind of crazy way to help people understand what they should know, because my target audience is always the ones that come here and they work out and they have fun and they don't think they need to know anything right now. But those are my favorite people to talk to, because I don't want you to wait until there's a crisis situation before now all of a sudden, now where do you even begin? Do you even know? And so that's why I love when people come to this program. So this one in particular, because people will go to a rehab or a nursing home or an assisted living to see a family member, or in a case where they have to actually place their loved one. But very rarely do people just go to them. So that's what I love about this, because it gets you going in, walking around. You're not intimidated because you're with a group of other people, like a field trip. And then you get to, in the back of your head, start making a plan as to, well, if this happens to me, honey, these are my top 2 that I want to go to, or whatever it is. At least it gets you out there and looking and talking to people, and just having a little plan is all that matters. Now, I've asked all the lovely table vendors back there to create a one sheet, if they have it, that has like the 5 most frequently asked questions that pertain to their level of expertise, along with their branding at the top. So that way, when you walk around to the tables, you'll collect all this information. And you might throw away a little trinket that you pick up today, and you might eat the candy. But if you can keep the information somewhere safe and sound, and then something happens, at least you've got something to go to. And in the worst case scenario, I've had people call me and say, "Hey, Lynn, I know that you did a program one time, and I've got questions. And what was the place that did this?" Or you're going to remember something from today's takeaway, and you'll see on the agenda all the different people that are going to be speaking today. And next April 1st, part 2, there'll be different speakers that day. So it's not going to be redundant that way. We will have table vendors again, but there might be new tables to visit. So I think, I didn't talk anything about the Senior Center. I'm going to do that really quick. So, Senior Center, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., Tuesdays, Thursdays, 7 to 7, Saturdays, 8 to 1. I call it the Boys and Girls Club for people over 50 because it doesn't cost anything to join. You just fill out your information. We put it in the computer system. We give you a little swiper card, and you can come and have fun. So we have the indoor walking track downstairs, pool table. We have ping pong, foosball, shuffleboard, cornhole, volleyball, chair volleyball on Mondays, card games. We have 2 programs that ask for $10. One is a greeting card making class, and one is an art class. It's because of the supplies. The woman brings the supplies, but you leave with wonderful fun items. We have all kinds of things. I always tell people to pick up the newsletter and the calendars, because on the calendars, you'll see all the things that we have going on a regular basis. And when you flip it over, it goes into detail. In the newsletter, you'll find a lot of different information. Facts about Medicare, facts about caregiving, all different kinds of statistics and things like that. So we are almost a 40,000 square foot building, and we have 3 floors, and the elevator goes up to all of them. We have a lot of fun here, that's for sure. And does anybody have any questions? Yes. The Diners Club is the congregate meal, and it's served Monday through Friday. And what you do is you'll talk to Karen McNeil, and she can go more into detail, but a person can come and have a meal, and then they have an activity that day scheduled, and they at least get to meet people, which is wonderful. We had a gentleman recently move from Mexico, and we have another gentleman who's always wanted to speak Spanish to people. So he's very happy that he's got somebody to speak Spanish with. And the fitness room. So for the fitness, we have Chris Peavy, our fitness instructor, coordinator, and he charges, or we charge, $2 for the day. So you charge $2, or you pay $2, you get to work out in the gym in the front, and you get to take all those fitness classes for that day. The only exception is yoga. Yoga, you'll give $4 to the yoga instructor because that's how she gets paid. What we do, if you want to become a gym member, there's a form downstairs. Your doctor has to sign off that it's okay for you to exercise. You call Chris and set an appointment. During an orientation is where he'll ask you what your goals are. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And he will design a little program and show you the machines that would be tailor fit for you. And then he'll kind of recommend which types of fitness classes. The other fitness class that doesn't cost anything, and if people don't have enough money, they can ask for a scholarship, just to let you know. If somebody is like a fall risk, we have an evidence-based program. We have 2 of them. One of them is Tai Chi for fall prevention, and the other one is the Arthritis Foundation Walk with Ease. So those 2 programs, she does the Arthritis Foundation pretty much twice a year. The Tai Chi one is like ongoing, and those are for people that are very frail. It teaches them core strength, because once a person falls, then they're afraid, and they don't want to do anything. And what happens when you don't do anything? Now you become even a bigger fall risk. So these programs, the evidence, that's why they're called evidence-based, because there's true evidence that once a person starts these programs, they'll be better by the time they're finished with this program. Or they can go on going. Or they can join other fitness classes that we have, or walk around the track to keep going strong with our track downstairs. But anyway, if there's no other questions, I'm going to try to keep this train on track. We have our next speaker is Emily Lauder, and she is the Adult Services Social Worker number 3 with Department of Social Services. I have to get your PowerPoint up and start this, and I'm going to lower some of the lights. But if you want to come on up and introduce yourself or just say hello, how did you get started in this business and all that sort of fun stuff.
Hey everybody, my name's Emily. How's everybody doing? So I work with social services. I have been with Moore County for 5 years. I've been a social worker for almost 7. And I basically started because I just love to work with people and love to help people. While she's getting that queued up, I'll just give y'all a little bit of information. I'm going to talk about a specific program that I do, but a couple things. That our agency does is there's Adult Protective Services, and that's where people can make reports if they have concerns about disabled adults experiencing some type of maltreatment without anybody to help them or set things up for them. And if somebody has concerns, you call our hotline, which is 910-947-LOVE. So we have a team of investigators that handle those reports that are accepted to go out and gather information, connect with resources, and take whatever action needs to be taken. We also have a social worker that handles guardianship, and that is when we have people that have been deemed incompetent and they need a responsible party. Oh, okay. Okay. And so she handles that, where she does regular home visits and phone calls, coordinates medical stuff. And so if you have a loved one that you think potentially needs a guardianship, DSS really only becomes that person if there's literally nobody else able to do it. But if you wanted information on that process or when it might be appropriate, you can always call and ask to speak to a social worker who can maybe talk to you about that and educate you about it a little bit. And then we also have a social worker who monitors all the assisted living facilities in Moore County. And she just does quarterly visits and stuff with them. So my program is the Special Assistance In-Home Program. If I say SA In-Home, that's what it's short for. So let me see, make sure and work this. Perfect. Okay, so there's 2 different types of special assistance. There's special assistance, which is funds and a supplement that helps with people in facilities. Special assistance in-home, what I do is strictly for people living in the community. And the basis of this program, it is for people that are considered at risk for placement in assisted living, but wish to continue living independently in the community. And this program is a way that they get case management services, insert me, who calls and does home visits and connects you with things that might be appropriate to help meet needs that you have. But it also gives them a monthly supplement with additional money to help meet essential needs. We do not dictate what the money is used for. It's just you get it and you use it to meet your needs, whatever that means and looks like for you. I have people that pay for caregivers. I have people that pay rent with it, just a variety of things, whatever you want to do with it. So there, DSS, we do special assistance in-home case management, but Trillium, who replaced Sand Hill Center with mental health services and IDD, They also do case management, and they do it for people that are in the transition to community living program and DOJ clients. So if you want to apply for the program, you apply at DSS. But if a person's with Trillium, they'll do your case management. Otherwise, we do it. Yeah. So when you apply for special assistance in home, you just go down to social services in Carthage, and you just tell them that you want to apply for special assistance in home. You can make an appointment, but appointments are not required. You can walk in and apply at any time. So you apply with adult Medicaid, and they process the application. It is a Medicaid-based program, but you do not have to be eligible for Medicaid to get in the program. It's all just based, case by case based, income, resources, and everything that determines that. So somebody has to apply in person, either you or what we call an authorized representative that comes. They got to have what we call a wet signature on that application and all the good forms that one of the workers will do with you. So the program requirements, you have to be 65 or older, or over 18 and are considered a disabled adult by the terms of Social Security. You must be receiving the maximum SSI benefit that you are eligible for. Sometimes people have a decreased rate, but it's pretty easy to get it regular. You just call Social Security, which we always know is an easy process, right? And you talk to them about getting that rate where it's supposed to be. And then your resources, which is like what's in your savings, assets, they cannot exceed $2,000. And then you have to be receiving all benefits you're eligible for with social services, which can be food stamps, Medicaid transportation. Now, not all my clients use Medicaid transportation, but they're aware of it. They're kind of signed up for it in case they need it. And then there's low income energy assistance program, or LEAP, which is an annual heating assistance program. So anything you're eligible for in our agency, we want you to take advantage of all of it. And me and Medicaid, we work well to make sure people know what they should be applying for and doing. And then you are required to have an FL2. This is just a single piece of paper that your doctor has to fill out. And it's got your demographic info, it's got your diagnoses, your medications, any limitations you may have. And this form, it has a recommended level of care. For the SAN home program, it has to be a domiciliary or rest home level of care that is recommended by your physician. That does not, and I know that scares people because they think, well, I don't want to live in a nursing home. It doesn't mean that you have to. It just says your doctor thinks that you would be appropriate for that level of care. And it's what has to be on this magic little form is one of the requirements to get you in. Oh, and the note at the bottom, this is a newer change in the last year. You used to have to be eligible for Medicaid to get into SAN home. I have some people that have applied and wouldn't have Medicaid, but they qualified for this program, and then they got full Medicaid with this program, which opens a lot of doors to all the benefits that you can get through being a Medicaid recipient. So what's next? So the Medicaid worker, they're going to do all the verification. They're going to look at bank statements, assets, property, any of the financial piece, and verify your monthly income, and if you're approved, what you would be entitled to. They're going to look at your property, all that good stuff. The Medicaid worker does that. So me, the social worker, I do the case management piece. I have to do a home visit wherever the person's residing. And I assess what's called CMAPs, which is basically your social, your economic, your environment, mental health, activities of daily living, and your physical health, to just get a whole background on everything about you so that I can get to know you, and assess, areas that you might have some needs and your strengths. And then, so that way I know if you're accepted in this program through the case management, maybe there's things that would benefit you, but you haven't signed up for. I work with you to get that set up, and to assess over time as things change. During this home visit, I have to be able to say that I feel this person can be maintained safely in their home. And if not, I have to address why. And if there's a plan we can create to overcome some of the obstacles, we work together to do that. If I cannot say that you can be maintained safely and I don't feel we can achieve that, I cannot say that you're appropriate for the program, because that is a requirement. The whole basis is to avoid facility placement by keeping people safe in their home. So once a person is approved, they will start beginning to receive their monthly payment. It's a monthly supplement. If you say you applied in early March, but you're not approved until mid-April, you're going to get back pay from when you applied. You're going to get March and April, and those payments will come every month. So going forward with the case management, once somebody's approved, I'm required to do regular home visits and phone contacts, sometimes talk to collaterals like maybe your doctor's office, or if you have personal care service agency coming out, just to see if anybody has concerns and if everything's good. And that's just that constant needs assessment. If things change, people's mobility can change, and then maybe we need different things implemented. So they recently changed this. They used to be quarterly visits and monthly contacts. Now it's more person-centered based on everybody's individual assessment. That determines me and my supervisor staff and determine how often we feel this person needs to be seen and talked to. Minimum, I have to have one phone call and one face-to-face contact per year at minimum. And the needs I said I assess, I have to create a service plan. So if we have, say somebody needs assistance in the home and they need to set up personal care services, that might be a goal that we work on together to get that set up. And it's just a living document that we update as needed to assess those needs. So the special assistance in-home rates, those are income-based. And there's this little magic equation that Medicaid uses to determine what you're eligible for. There are two different types of rates. There's a standard and an enhanced. For somebody to get the enhanced rate, they have to have a diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer's on that FL2 from the doctor. Because with the enhanced rate, you're entitled to more money, because if there's memory loss diagnoses, the cost to meet somebody's needs is going to be higher, just like a memory care unit in a facility would be more expensive. And the rate stays the same, except when we get the cost of living raise every year, it'll adjust with that, or if the state adjusts the numbers with the equation that the Medicaid uses. So you can be in this program. It's an ongoing program. It's a voluntary program, but there are different reasons that someone can be terminated from this program. As I said earlier, if I do not feel like they can be maintained safely in their home and we've tried different avenues, cannot resolve the issue, they can be terminated from the program. If their level of care changes, say somebody becomes bedbound and they no longer are appropriate for assisted living level of care, and they now need a skilled nursing home, then they would not be appropriate. Or if you receive CAP DA services, you can't have that with special assistance in home. If you become homeless or you are out of your home for 30 days, now that could be you're in the hospital, or you go from the hospital to a facility, or maybe you go out of state for 2 months to visit a child. If you're absent for more than 30 days, we do have to terminate, because the point is for you to be at home. If a valid FL2 is not provided annually, that leads to termination. Or if you do not complete, there's a Medicaid re-enrollment form that's required, and things that Medicaid need to verify that you continue to be eligible for the program every year, that can lead to termination. Or I have occasionally had people say, I'm good. This program served me. I've got what I need from it. I don't want to be in the program anymore. It's voluntary. They can withdraw at any time. And I do specify, I know termination scares people, but anybody can apply at any time. I've had somebody go in the hospital for a week, end up in a facility for a month. So I had to terminate them, but then they came home and they reapplied and we got them back in, no issues. I always feel like it's easier to reapply than it is initially because we kind of have a lot of the information we need. But me and Medicaid work well together. We communicate with each other. If there's something Medicaid needs that they're not getting, I really try to work with my clients to help them move that along and help in any way I can, and to be a support. So, does anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am. Well, they're social worker. Do you mean with like social services specifically? So in our unit in adult protective services, we have 6 and then 1 part-time. Everybody's caseload looks different. My caseload right now, I have close to 30 people. The investigators, theirs kind of fluctuate, usually max of 15. It just depends on how the reports are flowing in. Guardianship, I think they're close to 30 at this point. And then I cannot remember how many facilities the facility monitor has, but it kind of varies. Like even my caseload, I have people come on and off a lot for one reason or another. So I could get 3 applicants, but then 2 people come off the program. Did that answer? Was that all your questions? Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Yes. So, and I'll answer this as best I can. I always say with thorough Medicaid answers, you want to talk to a Medicaid worker because it's its own world. But you can have 1 residence, obviously, 1 house. You can have 1 vehicle. If you have additional vehicles, depending on what they're worth, now sometimes I might have somebody that has a car that's worth $500 broke down in the yard, but they're not over the $2,000. And then they look at what's in your bank accounts. So like if you own like 3 parcels of land and a house and 2 cars, you know, that's going to put you over the 2,000. Did that answer your question? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, guys.
Before I introduce Mike, I just want to say it's wonderful working with DSS because when we at the Senior Center are working with people, no matter what capacity, whether it's Alvita, whether it's Katie for Medicare, when a person has 1 need and they're coming to us, odds are they have more than 1 need. So the more questions we ask, we're able to work with DSS, and it's really nice, especially when we have like Diners Club members that are here that might need special assistance, or they're going through that LIEAP, that Low Income Energy Assistance Program. They work so well with us because then we can help. For instance, we have some vision impaired people here, so it's hard for them to fill out paperwork. So we work with helping them and then get the information to DSS, and it's a really nice back and forth that we have with them. It's great. So anyway, I am going to introduce now Mike Inaselli. He is with Home Choice Network, and he's going to give you a fabulous talk. I know he always does. And did you already put it? All right, I'll play it. All right, thank you.
Well, welcome everybody. And I want to thank Lynn and thank the Senior Enrichment Center for the opportunity to meet with you today. You've just heard about being at home, and I'm going to hopefully give you some information on how to remain in your home a little bit more independently and safely than if you just don't do anything. So while she's setting it up, you want to stand up and get off and just get a couple minutes standing up while we get set up? Yep, got a nice stretch going. We're good. Okay. So I have okay, we can get started now. Now that everybody's got the energy flowing, we're good to go. When I was asked to present at the program about how to remain safely at home and independently, I wanted to make sure it was a way that's affordable and that you can do most of it on your own. It isn't going to require a professional. It isn't going to require a licensed person. It's just something you can do to enhance the livability of your home. So a typical home should not look like it has prison bars in front of it. Your home is supposed to work for you, not you work for your home. Looking around here, I'd say most of you have spent your whole life trying to get a home, get it to where you want it. Now let's make it work for you. So we're going to be enhancing safety and independence at home. We're going to make your home safer, make your home more functional, anticipate needs in advance, and make your home more inviting for your guests. That last one I put up there, I have a neighbor that has a 92-year-old mother, and she cannot visit her daughter because the only way to get into the home is up 16 steps from the street. They're on the side of a hill, 10 from the deck, or 5 from the garage, and the mother's wheelchair bound. So that house is not, she's fine, she's very functional, but it isn't for your guests. And as we all start that journey in life, we know a lot of people that have limitations, and think about this when you do something with your home. So the first one is the easiest to do is remove tripping hazards, clutter. Oh, I've just a lot of trouble to pick that shirt up off the floor. I'm going to move those magazines. The dog's dish, that's where the dog likes it. I mean, got to remove it. The other one we don't think about a lot, but do impact tripping and I would say our cords. We have electrical cords and we have wires because everything is electrified now, and it comes from a central point, comes out, goes behind the dresser, goes in front of the bed, goes by the TV, goes by the island, you name it, we have a cord. May not be on the floor, but it's hanging. Throw rugs and pads, we're going to get to that, and to clear the pathways where you walk. Now, clutter. I took that from my son's room, not really, when he was in college, not really. It's just, it builds up, and you don't see it. You just don't, because it's just something that's always there. Somebody else walking to your house may see it, like a son or a daughter, or someone who comes in and does, says, you might want to move that. And the other one I've got there, I want you to look, the cord's obvious, right? Whoops, this isn't the laser. Okay, if you look at that, throw rugs. Trips from throw rugs are not from sliding. They're from change in elevation. And so if you see that person, they're catching the edge of that throw rug. And if you don't have good balance, you're going down. And the other thing is that here's what you don't think about. Okay, I feel better if I can walk around a little bit. If you look at this, okay, if you have low vision or you're walking in the dark, how do you walk? You don't go, hey, I'm going down. You take stutter step. And that is going to catch you up on a rug quicker than you can imagine. So just remember, those throw rugs, if you don't need them, I know they've been there. I know they add to your decoration, your decor, your comfort level, but they can be dangerous. And here's just, hazards can be anywhere. Just a quick look. In every room, there's some kind of hazard. And I bet you can identify at least one in your own home. And that's what we're talking about. You just need to look at, The water by the washer and dryer, that's there all the time. Ladders. Did you know that if you're over 65, Medicare recommends you do not get up any higher than the second step on a ladder if you do it at all? And there's a reason for that. I can tell you after my last trip to the emergency room. So it does happen. I didn't believe it until it happened. Okay, and we need home safety furniture. Make sure your furniture is substantial. What I mean by that is you're not going to sit in, it's not going to wobble around. Well, I know that chair needs to be repaired, but my mom gave it to me and it's been here for years and we just like it and it looks good. If it's not substantial, it's not put together, it's wobbly for you, you may not want it. The other one is chairs with arms. And make sure the arms extend to the front legs of the chair because that's going to get you up. It does two things. It pushes you up with your arms. The second thing is, by being over the front of the chair, it locks the chair in place with the pressure. So it's not going to slip out from underneath you. Small things you can do. And no wheel coasters. They may be good getting in and out, but all of you have seen someone that has just missed the chair because it moved. If it wasn't you, it's been someone. So if you don't have them, don't do it. And make sure the chair fits your body type. For me, I've been in chairs where I feel like, I'm 6 years old sitting in a chair and my feet are dangling in the air because you sit back in the sofa and you go back and back. And then when you get to the backrest, your feet are off the floor. If you have something like that, pillows aren't going to get you out. And the other one is if your furniture, you're sitting down and your legs go beyond 90 degrees at your knees, the bend, it's going to be hard to get out. So make sure that furniture fits your body type and do not block walking paths with your furniture. Been in a home where the only way I could get around doing a client visit was literally walking like that around furniture. And this person was using a walker. I don't know how she did it. But I'm just saying, just a little thought, just moving a few things around can pay dividends like you wouldn't believe. And this one, secure the walls, shelves, TVs, other heavy items. You buy any piece of furniture now, it's going to come with a cable and anchors. Use them. And the reason for that is, you may not have little children at home, but we have you. And if you start to fall or you get unsteady on your feet and you grab a hold of something and it's not anchored, you're going down, it's coming down on top of you. I'm not here to give you alarm, this is not a scare. This is just small things you can do to make your house safe, to make it livable, and to make it something you can stay in longer. It doesn't take a lot of work. It just takes a little thought. Walk through with a pad, a paper, son, daughter, somebody. Just walk through and look at these things. It's really easy to do. And if possible, have your favorite chair face the direction you're going to go when you get up out of it most frequently. Because guess what happens? I look around this room and I look at me. When I stand up, my blood pressure isn't what it used to be. The things that the doctor will tell you to do, if you're going for a physical therapist will tell you what to do, is stabilize yourself when you stand up for just a second or two. Stand up and say, okay, I'm here. Nothing's spinning, I can go. Well, if you don't have a chair facing the way you want to go, you get up and you turn at the same time. Not a good combination, especially if you've been seated for a long period of time. So if you can move it, doesn't take a lot, just kind of face that direction. If you get out of your favorite chair where you're watching TV, it's because you're always going to the bathroom. If you can, at least angle it towards the bathroom. So when you get up, you can go over it. So I always go from this chair to, the kitchen table. Make sure it faces that direction if you can. Small thing to do. But it really, really works. Because someone said, all these providers we have here, you're going to get information with about knowing them. Well, you want to not meet them. Because, even though it's my business, I don't want to see you under circumstances you've had a trauma, a fall, or whatever. That's not what we're about. We're about keeping you independent and safe as long as possible. That's what this is about. Does anybody know what furniture walking is? Anybody ever heard of that? Bet you've all done it. Bet you've all seen it. I'm going to furniture walk for you. And go to the next one, and I go around. That's furniture walking. You shouldn't be furniture walking. If you're furniture walking, you need to ask yourself why. Why am I furniture walking? What am I missing? It's, just to give you a quick example of why you don't see it. When our son was in middle school and decided it's going to put a half basketball court in the yard. So his friends would all come over and play. This is what I wanted to do. And it worked all through high school and everything, because we had a cement basketball court and everybody wanted to come over and play. Well, they went to college, and in between their sophomore year and their junior year, they came back in the summer and they were all playing. And I went out there and, they're slapping my jump shots away like just swatting them. And I couldn't figure it out. What was going wrong? Everything was the same. And, I went in and wife was standing there. I said, she didn't understand it. I said, these guys aren't any bigger than they were last year. She said, I know. I think I know what it is. It's what? She says, your feet aren't really leaving the ground that much anymore. But in my mind, I was up there. And it happens to us. Kind of like paint drying on a wall. You pull a light switch off and you say, oh, the color behind the light switch is a lot different than the one on the wall. I didn't see it change. It's the same with our bodies. We live inside them every day. We just don't realize how we're compensating. So please, if you're furniture walking on a routine basis or someone you care about is, you need to ask that question, why? And lighting. Best thing you can do is get even lighting. Should have gone from light to dark, bright to dull. And lighting should match your activity. How many times have you had to, you're doing something and you just can't really see what you're doing anymore? So you go and turn a brighter light on. Or if you notice, I see some guys in here, workshops, the lights over your workbench are different than lights in your bedroom. You don't question that because, well, that's what I do. I'm working on things. I have to see it. So make sure it matches, and avoid glare when you do it. And glare can come in many forms. It can come in through the window. It can be a real bright light on a shiny floor or on a surface. Just try to make sure that the best thing I can say about lighting is that if you can even it out to match what you're doing, it's going to be the best thing you can do. You can do that just with light bulbs. It's not anything really scientific. It just, has anybody purchased light bulbs recently? Oh boy, you need to do that because it is a science now. You don't just buy a light bulb. There's 10 different varieties in the same wattage group. And what do you want to do? How do you want to do it? How many lumens do you want? Do you want it daylight? Do you want it bright light? Do you want it soft light? Do you want it, I don't know. But it's there. And please use motion activated lights. The best advice I can give you is buy the ones that are I just went blank. The ones you plug in the wall, the night lights that are motion activated, because they're not going to give you a lot of glare. They're going to illuminate where you need to go until you can get to a light switch if you have to. Small things. Anybody can do it. You can buy one for $6, $7, plug it in, and you're good to go. And illuminate stairs and hallways. I've seen now they have motion-activated light bulbs you can screw in a light fixture. Have anybody seen any of those? You just screw them in a light fixture. You don't need a special light fixture or anything. You walk down the hallway, it comes on. You go down the stairs, it comes on. And it lasts about, some of them will have an adjustable switch on it before you put it in, anywhere from 15 seconds to 30 seconds. It'll go out after there's no motion. As long as there's motion, they stay on. It's a great idea, great idea. I wish I would have thought of it. It wouldn't still be working. And the other one is make use of natural light if you can, and you can filter it with, different types of drapery, Shears are a good way to do it. But natural light is great, and it also helps with circadian rhythm and sleeping. So if you have natural light, it is going to help with sleep. And cooler lighting is better for seniors. So when they look at the lumens, they give you different ratings. You really want cool because it is blues. The softers are yellows. And even if we've had the cataract procedure, our corneas are still filtering out and we still see more yellows. And what that does is it just blocks, it's like opacity. It filters out the light coming in. So if you have the blues, it goes through that, and you can still see truer colors, and you can see more finite detail. So this gives you just kind of an idea. If you're looking at your house, you can see that they have different types of lighting for each different kind of activity. I just put that up there as just an FYI that, you do different things. But when you look at a package now, if you look at where I've circled there, those are the 3 types of lumens you should look for. It'll say true white, cool white, or daylight. That's what you really need to look for. And light bulbs. And home safety. This is the one thing you can't always do yourself or grab bars. And I know, I don't want my house to look like a nursing home. I don't want to go in that bathroom and think I'm in a hospital. That's not who I am. Might be who you are, you just don't want to admit it. I don't like to admit when I can't do things I used to, but I also don't want to end up, being on the floor and calling EMS either. And bathrooms, near toilets, showers, bedroom, be creative. If it's a place where you're getting up and down or you need balance and you just can't feel comfortable anymore, good place for it. And they don't have to look like what you think of the steel bar with the nervals on it to grab a hold of so you don't slip. No. Look up in the upper left-hand corner. Those are all grab bars. They don't look like it. If you walked into somebody's bath, you wouldn't think those were grab bars. They can still be attractive. They can be functional. This would require probably professional installation. But the ones I'm going to show you right here, this one, if you have a transient problem, episodic, say you're just hip surgery, knee replacement, any number of procedures, and you need some type of grab bar, these just go up on the ceiling, as you can see there, on the floor. That handle will pivot and lock in positions. It also raises and lowers to fit the person. And they can be anywhere, and when you don't need them anymore, you just remove them. They're available. I mean, it's a great idea, really good, and it's temporary. And if you can screw a pearl up, that doesn't sound right. If you can raise a pearl, you can do it. Okay? You could do it. And the stairway, make sure if you can, if you don't have it, add the rails on both sides. And notice this one's illuminated. The only thing I couldn't find a good picture to do what I wanted. The only thing that's not really make this a perfect picture is there should be some type of transition that you can see between the treads on the thing, because if you're just looking down at that raw wood all the way down, sometimes they kind of blend together, maybe an edge strip or something. But I couldn't find a picture that really would do that. But notice it's illuminated and there's rails on both sides. That's really important. And did we miss anything so far? What do you think we missed? Most important thing of all. Anybody guess? Yeah. You're more important than that. You. Because if you don't keep yourself up, all the things I talked about just don't even make any difference. So part of being independent in your home and being as safe as you can is health and wellness. So the first 3, regular physical exercise. Exercise doesn't have to be at once. It's cumulative through the day. If they say you'd be active a half hour a day, you can do 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 3 minutes there. It's cumulative. Your body doesn't know the difference that it's 1 minute after another. It just knows how many it's the end of the day. And medication management. In home care, we go in, and it's not unusual to see somebody comes out, what medications you want? They will bring out a shoebox because they're seeing 6, 7 different providers, and each one is prescribing, but no one talks to the other one. And no one says, oh, but I've got all these from Dr. A. What do you think, Dr. B? You go, and Dr. B says, well, this is what I think you need. And you go, okay, where's my prescription? And some are contraindicated. Some work against each other. So what I would suggest with your medication management, not only is you take them as prescribed, you also, if you really don't know how many you have or why you're taking them, take them to your pharmacist, the best qualified person to tell you what they're going to do and if they're contraindicated. Because most specialists know about what's in their specialty. They're not really attuned into what else they have. So as we can see what exercise is. Any questions? That's it? One. Chrissy. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I thought I touched on that when I said this should be professionally installed. Yeah, this should be professionally installed. Okay, and the last thing is that if you are unsure about anything, see a professional provider, and I guess that's it.
That's all, folks. Thank you very much. Okay, so our next speaker is Jenna Ratliff, and she is with Pinehurst Healthcare and Rehab. You got that, sir? Okie dokie. And she is going to talk about rehabilitation centers and skilled nursing homes. And I'm going to turn on the lights since there's no presentation.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jenna Ratliff. I'm the Admissions and Marketing Director at Pinehurst Health and Rehab. We are a skilled nursing and long-term care facility. So you may come in for short-term. We offer rehab after a brief hospitalization where you might have had a fracture, a medical crisis, a stroke. So people come in short-term with your insurance. So your Medicare or your replacement supplements will pay for that. And you will come in for a short stay, get you back on your feet where you need to be to return home. So that's how we like to see most people, a short 10 to 14, 20-day stay with us and return home. But we do also offer long-term care. So this is if you need long-term placement for an acute need that is chronic, that is getting worse. The misconception for that, though, is that Medicare does not pay for this. So Medicare does not pay at all for your long-term placement. They will supplement in when it comes to some therapy and things like that, but they do not cover. So a lot of people have long-term care insurance, private pay. We are a Medicaid facility, so we do take Medicaid for long-term care placement. But the big misconception is Medicare does not cover. And like Emily had mentioned, coming into a facility, you will need, if you're coming from home, you'll need things like an FL2 from your doctor, things like that. And we do help with the Medicaid process. So if you're coming to us and need help or have questions and concerns about what that looks like, I know I'm well-versed in Medicaid. We have specialists that are well-versed in Medicaid. And it is definitely an avenue that people don't think that they have when it comes to their resources and things, but we help work with them to get that Medicaid in place. Our population at our facility, probably 80% is long-term care Medicaid with just a small percent private pay or long-term care insurance. We are a 147-bed facility. Currently only operating at 122 because we're going through renovations, and about 25 beds are short-term rehab. So the rest of that is all long-term care. Here in Moore County, there are 6 facilities that offer skilled nursing benefits. And I know that others can speak for the need has risen. I've been at Pinehurst for 8 years, and I've just never seen the abundance and the need here in Moore County that we are seeing right now. It's kind of a scary situation, but I do encourage you. We hope to not see you, but you want to visit these facilities. Everyone is scared of skilled nursing. That's the first thing I say when people come in. It is a scary thing if you've never had to experience it. So I do encourage you to visit these facilities. Stop in don't call, don't plan it, just stop in on a whim. I love that, but that allows you the opportunity to get a true depiction of what that facility has to offer, what that staff has to offer, things like that. Any questions? Go. Oh, Lord.
So if I'm going in for a knee replacement surgery,
Mm-hmm.
is my only option to go home and try to get around with my wife that's 4'3" and I'm an 8 foot tall man, and I'm trying to get around the house?
No, it's not. So there are stipulations. So if you have standard Medicare, you've got to be having that 3 midnight at the hospital, and you have to be admitted. You cannot be in observation status. The hospital loves observation status these days. But you have to be inpatient for 3 midnights in order to qualify to come to any skilled nursing facility for continued rehab. If you have a replacement plan, a Humana, a UHC, an Aetna, a WellCare, a Troy Medicare, any of those, you don't have to have the 3 midnights, but you have to be approved by them to go to the facility. So the hospital would send information over. I would start the process through your insurance. You may qualify, or they may deny you and say, no, the needs can be met at home with continued outpatient therapy and things like that. So that's kind of the give and take on the Medicare. With those managed cares, we have to follow their rules. They govern all of that. So just be mindful of that. They also technically only pay for a semi-private room in a skilled nursing rehab facility, while Medicare pays for a private room. So these are all things to take into consideration. Most of these managed cares, as well as Medicare, pay for the first 20 days at 100% coverage, but you have to meet the need and have to be progressing in your therapies and things like that. So it's not guaranteed that they're going to give you 20 days. That's a big misconception. It's not guaranteed. Yes, ma'am. I would say right now here in Moore County, it's running between about $8,500 to $10,000 a month. Mm-hmm. And that would be for a private room. Now, semi-private is not much off of that, but yes. Yes. So what private insurance are you referring to? Long-term care insurance. I mean, it's the same level of care. You're going to get the same level of care as Medicare. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. They are restrictive. Yes. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yeah. So with right. So 3 midnights under your red, white, and blue, your Medicare, you have to be inpatient for 3 midnights to qualify to be eligible for a skilled nursing stay and a continuation of therapy and rehab. 3 nights in a row. Yep. But if you say you got 3 nights in a row, you decided, hey, I'm going to go home with my wife, it's going to be great. You went home, but then 2 days later, you ended up back in the hospital, just in the ER, for instance, because you had a fall or something. You still had those 3 midnights within a 30-day period, so you still would qualify. At that point, you decided, hey, I think I need to go to therapy, I think I need to benefit myself and my wife, then you could come straight from the ER. Yeah, that's more the hospital. No. Yes, ma'am. Hmm. Well, if your long-term care only covered the assisted living, then for us, you would come in under private pay at the daily rate. And then a lot, we have people who eventually, possibly spend all of their means, all of their extra money. So we get to a point then that we would assist with the long-term care Medicaid application. Yeah.
And that Medicaid spend down process will be covered in part 2 when Jennifer Garner is here. So she'll go
Nice.
over all of the details on how to pay, as well as veteran services will be here, and she'll go over if there's a veteran or spouse of a veteran, and they might qualify for aid and attendance benefits. That might help assist with aid for either assisted living or
Skilled nursing.
So some of the aid process will be covered in part 2. What is the name of the
So Pinehurst Rehab, you've got the Greens at Pinehurst, Dahlia Gardens in Aberdeen, Pine Lake in Carthage, and then St. Joseph of the Pines and Phoenix.
And do all of them have a step down program, like assisted living?
No, so like for our facility, we are just 100% skilled nursing. Same with the Greens at Pinehurst, Dahlia, and Pine Lake, I believe. I don't think they have an assisted living. So, but then I know some of them don't offer long-term care too. They just offer short-term. So, these are all things to take into consideration too. But you do have a choice when you go to the hospital. They'll give you the form with the star ratings, all that stuff. So you have a choice, and just make sure you exercise your voice on that to make sure you get your choices at the hospital. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, just here in Moore County, there are 6 facilities, but they will send your information out to these facilities. Say you have a top 3 preference, send them to them first. If they don't have a bed, don't take your insurance, things like this, then you'll get denied and then kind of have to go to plan B. But yes, and we're seeing an increase where there's just not rooms, there's not beds here. So people are having to go to a different county. Yeah. Any other questions?
I just want to make a comment too. Every year when I have this event, I ask all of those places in town, whether they're all the assisted livings, all the retirement communities that have the life plan care, all of the skilled nursing homes, but there's only some people that are available to come. So while there are lots of choices in Moore County, we're very blessed to have choices. Not all people participate. So they are not on the maps. If you would like to go visit on your own, that is fine. But the people that are only participating are the ones that are on the map that you're going to the right?
Yes, sir.
What's the total number of beds available versus the total number that are occupied? So in other words, what kind of occupancy?
In the whole county?
Yeah.
I have no clue.
Oh, okay.
I can only speak to mine. I mean, we're a close-knit community, but yeah, I don't know. I have no clue. So for like instance, my building is 100% full as of today. So, that fluctuates up and down, but
Okay, how many's in your building?
I have 117 beds that I can offer right now and 117 patients. So, yeah,
I think that's an issue that we should be aware of.
yes, and I know others can speak to that. I've never seen it like this in almost 9 years I've been at Pinehurst. I've just never seen a situation that we're in right now. So,
Okay, assuming all beds are full.
uh-huh.
Okay, where's the nearest bed outside the county? You know, thinking about transportation.
Yeah.
Of your loved one, how far are they gonna have to go to come visit?
Right. I mean, for instance, there's several facilities in Sanford and Lee County. Scotland County has, so within a 30-minute radius, there are several other buildings and other options, facilities. But yeah, you have to take into consideration all those things. Yeah. You're welcome. I'm gonna break this thing.
All right. Are you is your head exploding right now? Lots of information. These are things that I wish we would teach people in college instead of some of the courses that I know that are available. Real life would be great because this stuff scares everybody as we get older. And if at least we knew it maybe a little bit sooner, maybe we wouldn't have smoked a couple of cigarettes or done something else and maybe had better choices as we're getting older. But the information is great now. So at least during a crisis situation, you've got some of the information, you know things, you've met people. So if you're in a place and you see the person that you talk to at a table here or on a tour, that maybe gives you a little bit of comfort because you know that person. And that's the whole idea of this game of life's journey, because life's journey can be scary. I mean, we all want to live a happy, healthy life and go to sleep one day and then be with the Lord. But we all know the odds of that happening to everybody. So that's why we would just like to give everybody information when we can. So our next speaker is Jessica Barrington. And then after Jessica that's when we have the little table vendor fair, door prizes, and then the maps and the passports will be distributed. Okay? So thank you, Jessica. Bear with me 2 seconds while I get your PowerPoint up. And here is your clicker advancer.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? I don't have a Lynn Drinkwater voice. Speak from the diaphragm, right? So assisted living and memory care, what are they and what are the differences between the two? So, assisted living, how is it different from a skilled nursing facility that Jenna was speaking about? So in an assisted living, well, I guess I should say a skilled nursing facility is a medical setting. Residents there are folks who need or require 24/7 medical oversight or nursing care. Whereas an assisted living is not a medical facility. Many do have nurses on staff, a director of health and wellness to oversee their care staff, but we're not providing direct medical care. We can provide quite heavy hands-on care. So for folks that are needing assistance with activities of daily living, maybe that's, with meals, maybe it's medication management, can be bathing and toileting and dressing, and all of those hands-on care needs that can become difficult as we age. So what services does an assisted living community provide? There's of course, we provide your apartment or your place to live, but also 3 meals a day, activities, medical transportation. I often will compare our assisted living to a cruise ship. So it's, you have your own private suite for rest and relaxation. You can come out for the fun stuff like activities and meals, and we handle all the stuff you don't want to do anymore: cooking, cleaning, laundry, housekeeping, all of those things. And how do you know which community is right for you or a loved one? Well, so it's taking into account the things that are most important to you or your loved one and looking for an assisted living, and then having a general idea of what your budget might be. And then researching, making some calls, making some visits. oftentimes, as far as the community that's right for you, if you go in and it's a community that you feel like, the residents are well taken care of, they're smiling, the staff seem like they're interacting with the residents well, it often comes down to personal choice. So I work for Terabella, Brookdale and Fox Hollow are both here. There are other local assisted living communities. They provide good care. So what you're going to look at is your personal preference, the size, the setup of the community, the apartment size, the amenities, things like that. So memory care. How does memory care different from assisted living? We offer both assisted living and memory care. Many assisted livings do, so I often get asked that. They may say, well, my loved one doesn't wander, isn't an elopement risk, so they should be appropriate for assisted living. That's not always the case. So the way they differ in assisted living versus memory care is a memory care is a secure locked unit. And there may be a higher staff to patient ratio, that sort of thing. But in looking at the benefit of memory care to a particular resident, certainly we're going to look at that risk factor for safety if someone's at risk of intentionally or accidentally wandering away from the community. But we look at other things as well. We're going to look at if they're benefiting from programming. So oftentimes memory care, what makes it a memory care is that the programming used in the activities is specifically designed for folks living with a dementia diagnosis. Studies have shown that, with cognitive stimulation, social engagement, those things can actually help to slow the progression of the disease. So most memory cares implement a specialized programming for their residents living with dementia. So when looking at if a resident may be more appropriate for assisted living or memory care, we also take into account if they're in an assisted living environment, even if they're not at risk for intentionally leaving or wandering away, are they going to benefit from that programming? Are they going to get along with their peers there? Or are they going to be ostracized or left out because they're not making those same connections as their peers in the assisted living? We also often find that when people have cognitive impairment or dementia diagnosis, they start to self-isolate. So maybe they're not taking advantage of the activities being provided in assisted living because they're embarrassed or they're trying to cover. So then they isolate, which isn't benefiting them at all. We want folks to take advantage of the engagement and the programming offered. And certainly, I should say, that a memory care community requires a primary diagnosis of dementia. So in assisted living, we certainly have folks that may have a diagnosis of dementia, but for a variety of reasons, they're at a stage in that process where they're still quite appropriate to live in assisted living. So the dementia diagnosis in and of itself does not mean someone requires memory care, but it does for living in a memory care, that diagnosis needs to be the primary. And ultimately, it is up to the physician to recommend memory care versus assisted living. And how do you know which one's right for you? Again, it's touring, it's asking questions, it's identifying what is most important to you or your loved one, and then going out there and finding it. Okay, so myths about long-term care costs. That assisted living is too expensive. Assisted living costs vary widely and depend on a lot of factors, the level of care, the apartment size, those sorts of things. And in fact, I looked in North Carolina, the range of cost in assisted living is $3,000 to $8,000. So it's a pretty broad range, with the average being $5,700 roughly per month. And I have some of these at the table too. You're welcome to come by and get one. But this is something to take and fill in and really think about what your current expenses are versus what assisted living may cost. And this is going to change as well. If maybe you're adding on in-home care to help, that you're relatively independent but have a few hours of in-home care coming to provide service. There may be a point in which X amount of hours of paying for that in-home care is going to be cost prohibitive. So again, taking a look at this to see what you're paying now versus the cost of an assisted living, because it does include many things. It may not be as different as you think. Keeping my loved one at home and being their primary caregiver is more affordable. Certainly it takes a toll on a caregiver's health. We see that over and over again, folks who are trying to care for someone. It's physically taxing and emotionally draining. Certainly bringing in an outside home care can help a lot, but it could get to a point where that's not a doable situation. In fact, my mother provided care to my father in their home for about 9 years after a stroke. This is in Missouri. And they had home, they lived in a very rural area. They had home care paid for by the VA that would come in, but they couldn't find folks to staff a short shift to come in. She ended up caring for him at home as long as she could, and she ended up having a small stroke herself, and they both moved into an assisted living community. So it certainly can take a toll. It's not, mental and physical health are worth a lot as well, not just looking at the dollars and cents of things. Veterans are the only one who qualify for veterans benefits. That's not the case. Veterans and their spouses may be eligible for some additional benefits. I know there'll be a professional from the Veteran Service Office coming and speaking in part 2, so I won't go a lot into that, but it's certainly worth investigating if either a spouse or the veteran themselves could benefit. I do not believe that there are any benefits that pay for long-term care or pay toward long-term care. But I do have the number at the end of this for the Veteran Service Office, and I know that there will be a speaker in part 2 from the Veteran Service Office. So the cost. Does insurance pay for long-term care? Certainly a long-term care insurance policy can pay toward long-term care. As Jenna mentioned, and I often get asked, does Medicare pay for this? Medicare never pays for long-term care. Maybe there were short-term rehab stays, but not long-term. Sure. Yes, I'm sorry. Assisted living costs can be tax deductible. Yearly, our business office composes and sends out letters as requested to families that are deducting it from their taxes. So certainly worth talking to a tax professional about more specifics, but it is tax deductible. Does the VA pay for long-term care? The VA doesn't pay directly for long-term care, but if you may qualify for those benefits that can help you pay towards the cost of long-term care. How much does long-term care cost? As we touched on, it varies. It varies depending on the community. Going back to the insurance, there are some communities in the area that accept Medicaid under that special assistance, or that SA that Emily talked about briefly. I know that there are income guidelines and qualifications, so I'm not the person to speak specifically to that, but I know there is a program called Special Assistance Medicaid that can help pay toward the cost of assisted living. Not every assisted living community participates in that program, so that's something to ask as well whenever you're making your phone calls. And here are some resources that I mentioned. The Moore County Department of Aging, Alvita is wonderful. You can give her a call for you're looking for referrals, things like that. The Moore County Veteran Service Office, they are wonderful. They actually helped me get my father, again, who lives in Missouri, some additional benefits. And then Moore County Department of Social Services. And then certainly, if anyone calls Terabella, and even if we're not the right community for them, or they're looking for some place that accepts Medicaid, things like that, I am never going to just say we can't help you and hang up. I'm always going to give that person a few different resources to call, because we're we're all here to help older adults in Moore County. So I want to make sure that person, has a direction in which to go. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Oh. Our memory care has 38 beds. It's the largest memory care in Moore County. Currently, I have two available openings. But oh, absolutely. That's right. And I would commend all of you for coming and listening because, as Lynn has already mentioned, so oftentimes I'm encountering families and residents when it's a time of crisis, when they're in a skilled rehab and they're going to be discharged in 2 days, or they're at the hospital and they can't go home, but they don't know what to do. So to know what your options are, even if it is during a time of crisis where you have to make a quick decision, if you toured a number of communities and are familiar with them, it's going to help the process. It's going to help you know where you want to go. Yes, ma'am. Yes, so it depends on the long-term care policy. Many pay a certain dollar amount per day or per month. And if the cost of the community exceeds what your benefit is, then certainly there would be a difference to pay. Some policies are, I've seen policies that are very generous and would pay up to, $12,000 a month. Others, again, it's a portion, so it really depends on the individual policy. Thank you.
Okay, so now is the time we'll flick on all the lights and you can walk around and spend some time with some of the table vendors, grab some great information. And let's see, it's a little bit, it's 1:45, what is it, 10 after 2? I can't see the time, it's 1:45, okay. So how about we do about from like 2:30 we'll go ahead and we'll do the door prizes and the maps and the passports. If you would like to be part of the maps and the passports, the tours, and be in it to win the $100 or $200, just stick around because we won't be giving you maps and passports until the portion of you going and speaking to these people and getting more information. I know it might be hard because this is a lot of information and you're like, I don't even want to know about this stuff, but it's just a few hours of your time that will pay off in the long run, I promise you. So thank you so much. All right, everybody. Wow, I forgot. I cranked it up to 10 when the last speaker, Jessica, was speaking, and she was soft talker. All right, everybody, we're going to do door prizes now. There were more people sitting than standing, so I decided we're going to just do that. Does everybody have a pink door prize ticket? Does anybody not have a door prize ticket? All righty. So all of the people, the lovely sponsors that are bringing door prizes up, now is the time for us to get a nice door prize. And then on your way out, Alvita and Katie will sign you out your passport and map. So I am just moving these around. Okay, the first door prize. Everybody got your ticket? Could you read Laura's, please? 512-2017. All right. You get Joella from the Greens at Pinehurst. Cute little garden things. Look at that. All right. All right, so they all begin with 512. So we're going to do 2038 for the next one. All right. Another garden gnome. Woohoo! That one's my favorite because it's got bees on the hat. All right, the next one is going to be 2015. Woo! You get beautiful flowers from Pinehurst Healthcare and Rehab. All right. Who's going to get the next flowers? 2012. 2012. All right. You get a lovely pot of flowers. All right. 2009. All right. You get a lovely bottle of wine from Magnolia Gardens. Woohoo! I think you door prize people that provide the door prizes take note. What gets the oohs and ahs? All right, next number, 2044. All right, you get a lovely umbrella from Fox Hollow Senior Living. Okay, next one is 2024. Bingo! Look at the lovely orchid you get from Bella. You have two? Okay. All right. The first one from First Health Hospice is 2027. All right. All right. The next one, 2031. All right, you get another gift from First Health Hospice. And that lovely lady, Maggie Bonecutter, she's going to be one of our speakers next week, in 2 weeks, April 1st, the next part. Okay, 2033. 2033. All right, they must have left, so you snooze, you lose. On to the next. 2023. 2023, another snooze. Is that you? 2023? Yay! Okay. You won one gift certificate to St. Joseph of the Pines. Lunch at Belmead. Lovely. Okay, who's the next one for? Is that another lunch at Belmead? All right. 2021. All right, 2021. You got Diana Williamson back there. Okay, next up is a puzzle. 2025. 2025. A puzzle from Home Instead. Oops. 2005. 2005. All right. Going on to the next. 2026. All right. Another beautiful orchid. That's gorgeous. That is Casey from Care Patrol. All right. Next number, 2029. All right, there we go. You got a lovely parting gift from the Department of Social Services. 2048. Oh, look at that. Nice and convenient. Look at this from Benchmark Physical Therapy. Wow. You should go hang out with the lady that bought the bottle, got the bottle of wine. Oop, that's a... All right, 2013. All right. What do we have here from... Oh, yeah, Texas Roadhouse from Comfort Keepers. Nice. 2016. All right, look at this lovely house. It's a little cookie jar. Oh, isn't that sweet? That is from Kristen Muller with the Muller team from Coldwell Banker Real Estate. 2040. 2040, anybody? All right. 2020. 2020. Nope. All right. 2014. Yay! This is from Brookdale Senior Living, and it's an adorable basket with something inside the basket. Isn't it adorable? Very cute. All right, and the last gift, 2047. All right. Oh, no, you're fine. You're so sweet. That is from Visiting Angels. That's very sweet. All right, well, thank you all for coming and waiting and attending and doing all this. And on your way out, Katie Hall and Alvita Person will be using the same check-in list that you came in to check to make sure that she's given you the passport and the maps. And then you look on the maps and call them up and reserve your tour. Go on the tour. As long as you get 2 stamps in your passport, you're in it to win it on part 2. For every additional tour you go on, it's better for you in the long run, but then you get an additional entry to win the $200 grand prize or $100 second place prize. Okay? Thank you all, and we will see you on April 1st at 11:30.